The autumn wind cut through downtown Portland like a blade, sending fallen leaves spiraling across the empty sidewalks. Marcus pulled his worn leather jacket tighter as he approached the bus stop, the familiar weight of his toolbox making his shoulder ache after another 12-hour shift at the construction site. The digital display showed his bus wouldn't arrive for another 15 minutes, and he settled onto the cold metal bench with a weary sigh. That's when he noticed her. A woman stood at the far end of the bus stop, her arms wrapped tightly around herself as she shivered in what looked like an expensive but impractically thin blazer. Her dark hair whipped around her face in the gusts, and even in the dim streetlight, Marcus could see the goosebumps on her arms. She wore a tailored skirt and heels that suggested she'd come from some office building, probably working late like so many people in the city. Marcus had been raised by his grandmother, a woman who believed kindness was the only currency that truly mattered. You help people when you can, she'd always told him, because you never know when you might need help yourself. The memory of her voice made the decision easy. He stood up and walked over to the woman, who looked up at him with startled eyes. As he approached, she was younger than he'd initially thought, maybe early 30s, with an intelligent face marked by exhaustion and stress. Excuse me, Marcus said gently, already shrugging out of his jacket. You look cold. Would you like to borrow this? The woman stared at him for a moment, as if trying to process what he'd said. What? My jacket, he repeated, holding it out to her. It's pretty warm. I don't mind the cold much. She looked down at the worn leather jacket, then back up at his face. There was something vulnerable in her expression, a crack in what Marcus suspected was usually a very composed exterior. You don't even know me. Don't need to, Marcus replied with a small smile. Just looks like you could use it more than I can right now. After another moment of hesitation, she accepted the jacket and slipped it on. It was several sizes too large, but the relief on her face was immediate. Thank you, she said quietly. I'm Sarah. Marcus. He returned to his spot on the bench, and after a brief pause, she joined him. This is really kind of you, Sarah said, pulling the jacket closer round herself. I wasn't thinking when I left the office. I've been working since 6 this morning, and just forgot to check the weather. Long day, Marcus observed. What kind of work keeps you there that late? Sarah was quiet for a moment. Business, she said finally. Lots of meetings. Lots of decisions. Sometimes I lose track of time. She glanced at his work boots and the toolbox beside him. Construction? Yeah, commercial mostly. We're working on that new office complex downtown. Started at dawn, just finished up. Marcus didn't mention that he'd actually stayed 2 hours past his shift to help a co-worker who was struggling with a difficult installation. He'd learned long ago that acts of kindness didn't need to be announced. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching the occasional car pass by. Sarah seemed to relax slightly, the tension in her shoulders easing as the warmth of the jacket took effect. Can I ask you something? Sarah said eventually. Sure. Why did you help me? I mean, really, you don't know me. I could be anyone. Marcus considered the question. My grandmother raised me, he said. She used to say that everybody's fighting battles you can't see. Sometimes a small kindness is all someone needs to get through the day. He shrugged. Besides, it's just a jacket. I've got others. Sarah was quiet for a long time after that. When she finally spoke, her voice was softer. Your grandmother sounds like a wise woman. She was. Passed 2 years ago, but I still hear her voice sometimes. Marcus smiled at the memory. She would have liked you. You don't know anything about me, Sarah protested, but she was smiling too. I know you work hard, you're polite, and you didn't act like I was crazy when a stranger offered you his jacket. That's enough. The bus arrived then, its brakes hissing as it pulled to a stop. Marcus stood and gathered his toolbox, but Sarah remained seated. This isn't my bus, she explained. I'm waiting for the 47. Marcus paused at the bus doors. You sure you'll be okay? That one doesn't run very frequently this late. I'll be fine, Sarah assured him. Thank you again for the jacket. How can I get it back to you? Keep it, Marcus said as the bus driver waited impatiently. Like I said, I've got others. He climbed aboard, and through the window, he saw Sarah watching as the bus pulled away. Something about her expression stuck with him during the ride home. A mixture of gratitude and something else he couldn't quite identify. 3 weeks later, Marcus was surprised to receive a call from his foreman asking him to come to the job site office immediately. When he arrived, he found his boss looking unusually nervous. Marcus, there's someone here who wants to meet you, the foreman said, gesturing toward a woman sitting in the small conference room. It was Sarah, but she looked completely different. Gone were the tired eyes and rumpled clothes. Instead, she wore a perfectly tailored suit and had an air of quiet authority that filled the room. Several other people in expensive suits sat around the conference table, all looking very serious. Hello, Marcus, Sarah said, standing to greet him. I believe you have something that belongs to me. Marcus looked confused until Sarah smiled and pointed to his shoulders. He was wearing the same leather jacket he'd offered her that night at the bus stop. I thought you said I should keep it, Marcus said, still trying to process what was happening. I lied, Sarah replied. Sarah Chen, CEO of Chen Development Group. We're the company funding this construction project. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Marcus had given his jacket to the CEO of the company he was working for, without knowing who she was. I've been thinking about that night for weeks, Sarah continued. About what you said, about kindness and helping people. I realized I'd lost sight of that somewhere along the way. She gestured to the people around the table. These are my senior executives, and I've been telling them about a conversation I had with someone who reminded me why I started this company in the first place. She picked up a folder from the table and handed it to Marcus. I've been looking into your work record. Your foreman says you're reliable, skilled, and that you often stay late to help other workers. Sound familiar? Marcus opened the folder and saw documents that made his eyes widen. What is this? A scholarship program, Sarah explained. For workers who want to continue their education while working, full tuition, flexible scheduling, and a guaranteed job upon completion. You'd be our first recipient if you're interested. Marcus looked around the room at the faces watching him expectantly. I don't understand. Why me? Sarah smiled, the same vulnerable expression he'd seen that night at the bus stop flickering across her face. Because sometimes a small kindness is all someone needs to get through the day. You reminded me that success isn't just about building bigger buildings or making more money. It's about building people up to. She extended her hand toward him. So, Marcus, are you ready to help me remember what really matters? As Marcus shook her hand, he could almost hear his grandmother's voice in the wind outside, telling him that kindness was indeed the only currency that truly mattered, and that sometimes it paid dividends you never expected.